So is the Earth ready for alien contact? Alien meaning space aliens, that is, extraterrestrials. It is now. A government UFO expert writes a contingency plan. This is exclusive report. A UFO expert who investigated alien sightings for England, for the UK government, has drafted a contingency plan for the day humans discover extraterrestrial life. Now, we know that it's been a couple of years since the UK government has released UFO files to the public. Some of these have been released by the US government as well. Sebastian Ketley reports this on Express UK. The person who is releasing this contingency plan is UFO expert Nick Pope. He worked for the Ministry of Defense in the UK between 1985 and 2006. Says the world is incredibly underprepared for the eventuality of contact with extraterrestrials. Well, we know that in the US and in the UK, we've had UFOs, extraterrestrials, buzzing around military bases, especially military bases that were handling nuclear materials and nuclear armaments. And some of these bases were cyber attacked by these extraterrestrial UFOs. The UK and the US believed it was Russians. Even the Russians had UFOs attacking their military bases, and the Russians thought it was perhaps the Americans, but it wasn't. It was extraterrestrials. We're going to go into that a little bit in the upcoming days because I think this is very fascinating and is definitely underreported. The UK has had a tremendous amount of buzzing around their nuclear military bases, and the US as well, as we said, and these extraterrestrial UFOs at one time even activated missiles, underground missiles, and it's no joke. I mean, this is very serious stuff. You can't have extraterrestrial UFOs activating superpowers military, nuclear military missiles. This could be the end of humankind as we know it. So Nick Pope worked for Ministry of Defense for the UK between 1985 and 2006. He says that we are definitely underprepared. Whether humans discover alien microbes on Mars or detect radio signals from distant civilizations, Nick Pope says top-level strategic planning needs to be readily available. Of course, we need that. We know that that takes a lot of money and expertise, and perhaps we don't even have the caliber to protect ourselves from this alien advanced technology. Now, the exclusively Express UK UFO expert took upon himself to draft a 5-page long document. He outlines what he thinks is an adequate response to discovering aliens. Nick Pope says he believes people have grown disillusioned with outer space after the Apollo program failed to extend humanity's reach into the stars. Well, we know that, for example, the US never went back to the moon, and they're scrapping the moon projects, saying, let's go to Mars. Well, why not go back to the moon? Why don't you have a colony on the moon, etc.? Now, Nick Pope says it's an uphill struggle. It's always tricky to convince people to spend money on what a lot of people might consider the white elephant project, considering a lot of social problems we have. As often as I'd like to say questions like, are we alone or not in the universe? That is one of the most profound questions we could ask. And let's also keep in mind the moons of Mars, Phobos and Deimos, are totally artificial. You know, they have all these constructed elements on them, plus the fact that they have seams around their equators, as if they're put together by metallic objects. Now, he says if we can get an answer to that, we want the answer, and why wouldn't we really push hard for it? According to Pope, one of the biggest threats surrounding Earth's lack of readiness is possibility of coming in contact with deadly alien contaminants. The UFO expert says fears outside of NASA, there is no adequate legislation in place to deal with potential lethal extraterrestrial microbes, viruses, or even advanced extraterrestrials out to harvest the humans or whatever. Your fantasy just goes berserk at this point. He wrote, in scientific terms, this danger is described as back contamination and is part of planetary protection policy. In NASA, this falls under the Office of Safety and Mission Assurance. In the event of any sample return or discovery return mission, Her Majesty's government, HMG, that is, of course, UK, will wish to seek robust assurances that the lead agency, probably NASA, but may be the space agency of another nation or a private company such as SpaceX, has appropriate biological hazard contained protocols in space. The detection or discovery of extraterrestrial life. He's got his text here. You can read it. 5 pages. He thinks that people are simply unaware of the dangers lurking in space. He says, I don't think people understand the issues. I don't think people understand how close we might be to getting an answer. There are 3 ways in which humans might one day find the answer. We are alone. Are we alone in the universe? Again, something has happened on Mars. There are too many experts that have made studies on this, claiming that they have seen pyramids and other intelligent constructed structures on Mars. And as we said before, 2 of Mars' moons, Phobos and Deimos, seem to be artificial. So it's not just microbes and viruses we're talking about. We're talking about very advanced space aliens. Now, the other 2 scenarios bank on technological advanced alien civilization beaming signals into space or sending spacecraft to Earth. Pope's contingency plan outlines a set of guidelines on how to react to each of these scenarios, and they include immediate actions that would need to be taken in situations that directly threaten the safety of the planet. And he wrote, there are 3 very different scenarios which will be dealt with in turn, because each raises separate issues where very different actions will need to be taken. No kidding. Well, we don't have, at this point, the advanced technology to put up with these advanced alien beings that zip around our skies from one end of the horizon to the other in a split second. Or maybe we do have this technology, but it's just suppressed. I don't know. It could be Tesla technology or other technology that is still suppressed. We don't know. Anyway, I'll leave a link below for you for this on Express UK.